Alright legends, this is episode 2 of the EVO 8 build. So this is where all the fun stuff starts. Big top mount turbos, exhaust manifolds, lobster back dump pipes, custom welding, everything. This is going to be real nice. So stay tuned, let me know what you think, and I'll just get stuck right in. Okay, first things first, radiator. Ooh, yeah. So this is the Koyo radiator for the, obviously for the EVO 7 to 9. It's very beautiful. These things are the bee's knees. Pretty hard to beat these puppies, just for reliability, cost, and quality of workmanship. Very nice. So all I'm going to do on here is I'm going to cut up the box that it came in, and I'm just going to cover up both sides with cardboard, tape it all up, just so when I'm fabricating and pulling things off and on, you don't damage all the cores, because she looking sick. Next up is this beautiful manifold. Look at the state of this thing. Full race, got a whole bunch of ports welded on. It's got lovely porting inside the runners there, which is really nice. And on this side here, well done, full race. Very nice. So this is a top mount turbo manifold T4 twin scroll for internal wastegated turbos. Okay, let's get this manifold on. A couple of nuts there just to hold it. I've cleaned and anti-seized the exhaust studs, exhaust manifold studs. It's always good practice. That's scrumptious. One thing to note, it sits really close to the block, which is really nice. So it's tucked right in, right? Obviously to give you as much clearance as possible, but very nice. Bang. Radiator's looking good. Okay, next up, the Borg Warner EFR series turbocharger. Look at this thing. So it was previously set up on a different car, so disregard this pipe here because it's not actually going to suit. I am going to cut this off and re-weld it and probably change the size of this because it's quite big. But yummy. Okie dokie. Here we go, the big huffer, aka Spoolie Boy. Now that is a turbocharger for an EVO. Damn. So there's the room I've got to work with for the 3.5 inch or maybe even 4 inch dump pipe going to the 3.5 inch exhaust. You can see here, got clearance all the way around. There's even clearance here even though I've got the cardboard. between the turbo. There was a little bit of a clearance issue with here, so I'll just nip this off. Okay, so on this part here, I've been focusing on the 3.5-inch turbo to exhaust front pipe dump pipe. So I'm doing it with a whole bunch of pie cuts, lobster back sort of setup, and this is what I've got so far. So basically, this is the 4-inch pie cut for the intake, but this is pretty much a standard looking pie cut that I cut with a drop saw. A specialized bit, a specialized cutting blade and stuff like that for stainless steel. So I've got a whole bunch of them, and I make them all line up to fit my situation. So one thing to note is having a linisher after you use the drop saw to deburr everything and give it a really nice machined edge on this sandpaper here. If you can see here, I've got a really nice cut with a nice machined edge, and how that sort of benefits, well, clearly it's pretty easy to understand, but my fit up is really good. So there's no air gaps, this hasn't been welded, this is just literally stuck together with tape, and it makes welding very easy. So super easy to do all of my spot welds to hold it all together. One thing to actually note though is when doing a multiple pie cut sort of 90 degree, when you spot weld it, it's fine, doesn't move so much. Stainless steel is really renowned for, when I weld all of this, it'll change where this location ends up. It'll pull itself in further. So if I started welding all this and I wanted it to land there, it'll probably end up landing over here. So probably move about 10-15 mil with this type of radius. So what I am going to do is I'll disconnect half of this, weld the whole thing up, put it back on, readjust the last of the pie cuts to adjust for that movement, and should come up really nice. Okay, so all the piping's coming up really well at the moment. Still a lot of welding to do and everything, so I'll give you a bit of an update of where I'm at right now and what's left to do. Okay, clearly you can see here, this is the 4-inch intake, all welded up, looking all saucy and nice, beautiful. What I have done is I've cut off, if I go over to here, I've cut off the turbocharger had this outlet on it because it was temporarily used on a different car before facing this way, which wasn't going to work. So I've fabricated this up, just spot welded it all at the moment. I cut off the existing setup, and if I can do this with one hand, it sits in and sits in like that. So it's looking much nicer, and then continues all the way around. I'll just pull that out. Continues all the way around to make it serviceable, because I'm going to weld this to the turbo housing. I'm going to run a silicon joiner in here, which is then going to mate up to something like this with a silicon joiner in there, so it's serviceable. And then also this comes around, feeds on here, and that'll complete, once it's all welded up, that'll complete that section coming down there, around and into this intercooler pipe here, which I've got a piece on there with a silicon joint at the moment.
Okay, there we have it. Hopefully you love it just as much as I do, and I know Sam will. Having a turbo so proud and pretty much sitting out of the bonnet like that is absolutely amazing. So word up to Sammy for picking this turbo. It's probably the biggest turbo you could fit, or 100% the biggest turbo you could fit. We have millimeters. I'm scraping for millimeters to make this whole system work, but at this point, I've got the radiator in, I've got the fan, I've got the actuator, I've got the turbo, I've got the manifold, I've got the dump pipe, I've got the hot pipe, I've got the intake pipe, I've got most of the lines connected, and we just fit. There's enough play for some movement in the engine, but this has been a bit of a test to get this going. I'm used to GDRs and Sylvias with a lot of sort of turbo area to work with. But I think if you went to the next stage on this, you would have to do what the other EVO guys do and just go a half radiator, front-facing turbo and stuff like that. But this is a beautiful thing, man. So hopefully you like. It's looking pretty. 100% is definitely not done yet. So this will be episode 3 coming up maybe in about a week or two's time. And that'll be the Plasma Man intake manifold that I can't wait to get delivered. Finalizing off some of the piping and pretty much just buttoning up this whole entire thing and then getting it ready to put onto a trailer, because Sam's getting a professional custom wiring loom to make sure there's no gremlins installed. So after this it'll get a wiring loom and then it'll go on the dyno, and I know we're all looking forward to that because I know I am. So hopefully you like. Subscribe, like, do your thing. If you can share it, that would be amazing. Let me know what you think. Cheers.